The world of tech was shaken recently. Pavel Durov was arrested. He's the founder of Telegram. French authorities detained him at Charles de Gaulle Airport. This was a stunning move. Durov was considered untouchable by many. He's known for his app's emphasis on privacy. The arrest sent shockwaves. People wondered about the charges. Speculation ran rampant online. Was this about Telegram's hands-off approach to content, or was there something more? Durov's detention sparked a debate. What is the role of tech companies? Should they be held accountable for what happens on their platforms? These questions are at the heart of the matter. The answers will have lasting implications. French authorities were tight-lipped. They didn't immediately release details about the charges. However, sources close to the investigation started leaking information. The allegations were serious. Durov was accused of financial crimes. These included money laundering and fraud. But that wasn't all. There were whispers of more disturbing charges. Some alleged that Telegram was used for drug trafficking. Others claimed it was a haven for organized crime. The most serious accusation was that Telegram facilitated terrorism. These allegations painted a dark picture. They suggested that Telegram was a hub for criminal activity. Durov, the man who championed privacy, was now accused of enabling the worst elements of society. To understand this situation, you need background. Pavel Durov wasn't just any tech entrepreneur, he was already a controversial figure. He made his name with VK. It was a social media platform in Russia. It rivaled Facebook in popularity. But Durov clashed with the Russian government. He refused to cooperate with their surveillance requests. This put him on a collision course with the Kremlin. In 2014, he was forced to flee Russia. Durov vowed to continue his fight for privacy. He launched Telegram. It was designed to be beyond the reach of governments. The app used end-to-end encryption. It made it impossible for anyone, even Telegram, to read messages. Telegram quickly gained popularity. It attracted users from all walks of life. Journalists used it to communicate securely. Activists relied on it to organize protests. It became a lifeline in countries with internet censorship. But Telegram's features also attracted a different crowd. The app's anonymity and lack of content moderation were a magnet for criminals. Extremist groups used Telegram to spread propaganda. Drug dealers used it to sell their products. Telegram became a double-edged sword. It was a tool for good and a platform for evil. This duality would come to define Durov's creation. Section 5: Double-edged sword, information and extremism. The lack of moderation on Telegram became a major issue. Terrorist groups like ISIS exploited the platform. They used it to recruit members and plan attacks. The app became a breeding ground for hate speech and misinformation. Durov found himself in a difficult position. He believed in free speech. But he didn't want his creation to be used for harm. He faced growing pressure to take action. Governments and human rights groups demanded that Telegram do more to combat extremism. Durov's response was mixed. He shut down some of the most egregious channels. But he refused to implement widespread censorship. He argued that it would violate the privacy of all users. Section 6: Global reactions, a chorus of condemnation and support. Durov's arrest sparked a global debate, igniting conversations across continents and cultures. Governments that had long been critical of Telegram applauded the move, seeing it as a necessary step. They saw it as a victory in the fight against terrorism and crime, a significant blow to those who misuse technology. Russia, in particular, was vocal in its support for the arrest, with President Vladimir Putin making public statements. But free speech advocates were alarmed, raising their voices in protest. They saw Durov's arrest as an attack on digital privacy, a fundamental right in the digital age. They argued that it set a dangerous precedent, one that could be used to justify further crackdowns. If governments could arrest tech CEOs for the content on their platforms, it would have a chilling effect on free expression, stifling dissent and innovation. The tech world was divided, with experts and leaders taking sides in the heated debate. Some, like Elon Musk, expressed concern over the arrest, fearing it could set a dangerous precedent. They feared it could stifle innovation, creating an environment of fear and uncertainty. Others, like Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg, remained silent, perhaps weighing the implications. The arrest highlighted the growing tension between governments and tech companies, a conflict that continues to shape the digital landscape. Section 7: The future of Telegram at a crossroads. Durov's arrest threw Telegram's future into uncertainty. Would the app survive without its founder? Would it be forced to compromise on its commitment to privacy? These were just some of the questions swirling around. Some experts predicted that the app would eventually be forced to comply with government regulations. They argued that Telegram couldn't operate in a vacuum. It needed to find a way to balance privacy with the need to combat illegal activity. Others believed that Telegram's decentralized structure would allow it to survive. Even without Durov, the app's core features would remain intact. Its encrypted messaging and focus on privacy would continue to attract users. Section 8. Digital freedom under fire, a global concern. Durov's arrest wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a larger trend. Around the world, governments were cracking down on digital freedom. They were introducing laws to regulate online content. They were pressuring tech companies to cooperate with surveillance requests. The arrest raised important questions about the balance between security and freedom. Governments argued that they needed to be able to monitor online activity to prevent terrorism and crime. But privacy advocates countered that mass surveillance eroded civil liberties and had a chilling effect on free speech. The debate over digital freedom was complex. There were no easy answers. But one thing was clear: the future of the internet was at stake. Section 9. The encryption debate, security versus accountability. At the heart of the Telegram controversy was the issue of encryption. Durov was a staunch advocate for end-to-end encryption. He believed it was essential for protecting user privacy. But governments argued that encryption made it difficult to track criminals and terrorists. The debate over encryption was often framed as a choice between security and privacy. Governments argued that they needed to be able to access encrypted communications to keep people safe. Privacy advocates countered that weakening encryption would make everyone more vulnerable to cyber attacks and surveillance. The encryption debate was likely to continue for years to come. Finding a solution that balanced the need for security with the right to privacy would be a major challenge. Section 10. The power of platforms, a new battleground. The Telegram case highlighted the growing power of tech platforms, showcasing how these digital giants have become integral to our daily lives. These platforms had become essential communication tools, connecting people across the globe in real time and facilitating instant communication. They played a significant role in shaping public discourse, influencing opinions, and mobilizing movements, both online and offline. But they were also used to spread misinformation and incite violence, creating echo chambers and amplifying false narratives. Governments were grappling with how to regulate these powerful platforms, struggling to find a balance between control and freedom. Some argued for greater government oversight, believing that stricter regulations were necessary to curb the negative impacts. They believed that tech companies should be held accountable for the content on their platforms, ensuring they take responsibility for what is shared. Others favored a more hands-off approach, advocating for minimal interference to preserve the open nature of the internet. They argued that governments should not interfere with the free flow of information online, emphasizing the importance of digital freedom. The debate over the power of platforms was just beginning, with experts and policymakers weighing in on the best path forward. As these platforms became even more central to our lives, the question of how to govern them would only become more pressing, demanding thoughtful and balanced solutions. Section 11. Durov's fate awaiting trial and the world watches. As of today, Pavel Durov remains in French custody, awaiting his trial with a sense of uncertainty hanging in the air. His legal team is fighting the charges with vigor and determination. They maintain his innocence, arguing that the accusations are unfounded and politically motivated. The world is watching closely, with every development being scrutinized by the media and the public alike. The outcome of this case will have major implications not just for Durov, but for the broader tech community and global digital rights. If Durov is found guilty, it could set a dangerous precedent, potentially stifling innovation and freedom of expression. It could embolden authoritarian governments to further clamp down on dissent and control the flow of information. It could lead to a widespread crackdown on encrypted messaging apps, affecting millions of users who rely on them for secure communication. But if he's cleared of all charges, it could be a significant victory for digital privacy and the right to secure communication. One thing is certain: the Durov case is a watershed moment in the ongoing battle between privacy and security. It has forced us to confront difficult questions about the balance between individual freedoms and collective security. How do we balance security with freedom in the digital age? How do we ensure that our rights are protected while maintaining safety? Who is responsible for the content on online platforms? And how do we hold them accountable without infringing on free speech? The answers to these questions will shape the future of the internet, determining how we interact, communicate, and share information in the years to come.